Hi, I'm Ken, and this is part of my series on playing the drums and also recording them. And this is called recording through the board. And that term refers to running into to the mixing board or a console directly with no sound emanating from the drums and getting a much cleaner sound. And you can do that with electronic drums particularly. Acoustics are much harder to mic and things. I used to take 12 mics to just mic my big acoustic set. This one's just one line straight in, and you can actually, I think I bought it at the Dollar Tree. It's like $1. So it's really quite easy to use. And you just line out through your module. I a lot of times just go through the headphone, although you should use your headphones to monitor them. There's also an output. I have the Alesis DM series, so it's an excellent set of drums. I highly recommend them. And that way you're going directly into the board with one line, so there's no interference, and you get a very clean sound. And as you can see, this came out quite well. And so we sort of briefly touched on that aspect of it. And I'm going to be reviewing some other things too on the drums, mostly drum technique and also recording technique too. So I'm going to get on with the series here, and this is part of my series. I've done quite a few of these. You can view them on Progressive Graphics under Kenneth Lafleur. And okay, so I'm going to play another clip. I just recorded these. These are all very recent, I think, from the last week. And so this is all my latest stuff that I'm doing. And I'm going to play a clip and then I'll review it. Okay, thanks. The last cut is actually kind of interesting. What I was doing is a lot of single strokes, and then going from the snare drum onto the cymbals. And also I was using the right hand and the left hand independently, playing rolls with the right and left hand, but not your typical drum rolls. They're more open rolls, or they're open rolls. And then going between the two bass drums. And actually now with the new set that I have, I've actually got 5 bass drums on it. So it's quite a large set. I think it's about 25 pieces altogether. And actually it has what are called multi-position pads. So, you know, in this series I'll be doing a lot on the electronics, and I wouldn't say I've switched over to them, but I've been using them a lot more. So, but yeah, I'll be talking about those more rather than the acoustic drums. So, but they have what is called multi-position, and that means you have more than one setting on the pad, or one, if you strike different areas of it, you'll get different tones. And so it's actually limitless. It's just amazing how many tones it has. And plus it has what's called general MIDI, musical instrument digital interface. And so that way you can run keyboards, anything through it, a drum machine. So it's just, at this point, it's unlimited what you can do. And I also just purchased a DP006 Tascam recording unit. So now I can do my own recordings and stuff like that. It's got 6 tracks. And so you can run that into it. Also, it has a USB, and it also has MIDI. And so it's, you know, and then I've also bought I have 2 modules. I'm running 2 modules on this set. And I have the Alesis, and also I have a Simmons, because I combine my 2 sets, and then I also put a Yamaha set in there too. So, and you want to make sure that the components you buy are compatible. That's very important, or they won't work. Okay, but mostly what I was doing there was just a lot of single stroke rolls, and then going to the from the snare to the cymbals, and then onto the drums, and then doing drum rolls between the 2 bass drums. So, and you can get a very effective combination going there. Okay, let's check out our next clip. In that cut, what I'm doing are a lot of triplets in between the 2 hands and the bass drums, and so a triplet would be one anda, not one anda, that's a 16. It'd be one anda, so it'd be like digger digger, like that type of thing. It's kind of a little jaggedy pattern, and it sounds great. It's a really effective pattern. And with these drums, it sounds really good. They have such a nice tone to them. And then just sort of once again using the basically single stroke rolls. And a lot of that, what was in that clip, was a lot of what Terry Bozzio does, is mainly doing triplets with singles onto the snare and then to the cymbals. So it's like 1 and a 2 and then 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a. So on the first 2 on the snare, and then the second 2 on the cymbals. And that's a really just a great pattern to play. And then also what I'll do too with that one is I'll usually put the left hand on the hi-hat or a cymbal, and then the right hand on the drums, and then go between the bass drums with the right hand. And that really sounds excellent. I got that from Louis Bellson. So really one of my favorites, really two of my favorite drummers. Bellson though, in particular, really one of the great drummers. So anyway, let's look at our next clip. I'm probably going to end it with this one because this is getting a little lengthy, and I don't want to go over too much. I don't want too much material in here. So I'll talk a little bit more about electronics and things you should watch out for when you're purchasing them if you want to get an electronic set. Okay. Okay, in that clip, once again, a lot of that I got from Terry Bozzio, just going really very rapidly from the cymbals to the snare, cymbal, snare, and then putting it onto the toms, and then going between the bass drums again. That seems to be a lot of what I was doing in this solo, was that type of thing. So, and once again, it's very effective. You can watch Terry Bozzio with UK. He uses that a lot when he was with UK. That particular, and then also Missing Persons. He used that quite a bit in the Missing Persons band. So, and especially on Spring Session M, where he's just going from triplets to snare, cymbal, snare, cymbal, and it's just a great fill. So anyway, so getting back to the electronics, you want to make sure that everything's compatible. It's very important, or your set won't function properly. And I have mine right now. It's called piggybacking, and what you do is you get splitter cables for headphones, so you can run two headphones out from one output, and then you keep adding cymbals, which is what I did, and just built it up into this huge monster of a set. You can't really see it here in this one. I might include some pictures, but I don't really recommend it. It drains a lot of the conductivity from your set, and it plays rather sluggishly, I think. So, but I just bought a new module. I got a Simmons SD 5000 or 5K. I don't know. I think it's 5000. I'm not sure. But it's a nice module. It was a little over 100. It's not real super expensive, and I'm real happy with it. So now I'll have half of the set running through one module, half of the other, and then into a mixing board, which is how I'm going to do this, and then into my PA system, which is also Simmons. I just bought that too, and that has 4 inputs. So I'll be blending them together and mixing them in the mixing board, then to the PA system. And so and really it wasn't an expensive set, considering how huge this thing is. It usually is. This thing is just gigantic. It was really quite inexpensive. I think I paid $200 for the Alesis initially. Unfortunately, I burned out a module. That's another thing you have to be very careful of, is your impedance on your adapters. That's how I burned my module out. You have to be very careful with that, or you can damage it real badly. In fact, I was ruined and wrecked it. So I had to buy it. That's why I bought the new one. So I would have had it up and running by now. So anyways, that's another thing to keep an eye on. And what I did is I used the tubing from my old Simmons set, and then I made boom stands out of it. So it's just a gigantic set. I'll try and find some pictures in my computer files and include it. So I see we're running over 7 minutes here. It's almost 8 minutes. So I don't want this to be too lengthy. But anyways, those are some of the things to look out for, and I'll continue doing series down the line. And those are some drum technique tips. And once again, I highly recommend the book Stick Control by Stone. It's a great book. If you can make it through that book, you can make it through anything. It's so complex. And also the Louis Bellson, Gil Bryan's book on syncopation studies. Both are excellent books. So, like I said, if you can go through those 2 books, you're pretty much prepared for anything. So anyway, that's my series, and like I said, I'll continue doing them along the lines. I feel it's important, and like that. And anyone wishing any information, you can contact me, KennethLafflerW@gmail.com. And I'll be glad to correspond with you on any information you'd like. I'll be glad to send anything. So, and that's it for today. Thank you for viewing, and have a good day. Okay, bye.